And now for something completely different.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Strap yourself in.
Because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Right, Chris.
All right, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to Leicester Till I Die. It's it's the 2023 season, isn't it, really? No, nothing is as normal. It's like we're living in a parallel world. Thanks to the World Cup, we've got FA Cup fifth round ties, middle of the week. Fixtures are all over the place. Oh, don't you just love the World Cup, eh? Of course, it is FA Cup week. And if I say weekend, please do forgive me because I'm not used to saying it. And of course, in honour of it being FA Cup week, there was only one strip I could wear, wasn't it? It was this strip, the FA Cup winning strip. It seems a while ago now, but we've done it. We've won it finally. A bit of a not exactly busy run, or a hard run, I should say, to the fifth round for Leicester. But we've got Blackburn Rovers. Now, as somebody who used to live in Burnley, to somebody who used to work at Blackburn Rovers for a few months, I know the rivalry. I had obviously a couple of season tickets because I was there, and I remember M65 between Blackburn and Burnley pulling off just past Accrington and taking off my Blackburn Rovers shirt and putting it on normal clothes, because if I got stopped at a traffic light in Burnley wearing Blackburn Rovers top, my wheels would not have lasted 2 minutes. That is a great rivalry between the two teams. Hated working for them, but great rivalry between the two teams. That said, look, I think he's in at the moment. I tell you what, Brad is having a really good evening doing the hokey cokey, because 1 minute he's putting it in, the next minute he's taking it out. Let's see if he's still shaking it all about. Brad, are you with us now? Good evening.
Evening, Chris. I probably hope so, because I'm sick of this always happening every week. Apart from that, I'm all right. So how are you, mate?
I'm not three bad, thank you very much. Not three bad. Looking forward to the launch of the new channel on Wednesday. We'll come on to that at the end of the show, though. But yes, making the most of it while you were here and no echo. So we will see how long that lasts for. Look,
yeah, don't hold your breath.
Sorry?
I said, don't hold your breath on it happening.
Well, no. Any time I have with you, Brad, is special to me, and I make the most of it before you disappear like ships that pass in the night. God, I must stop putting vodka in this Coke, mustn't I, before a show? Anyway, let's bring him in. Recommended by a Burnley fan, so I don't know exactly what that means. But representing Blackburn Rovers, he'll tell us all about himself. It's Dan. Good evening, sir.
Thanks for having us on. You didn't tell me you were from Burnley. You'd been in Burnley before, though. I had to change my mind about coming on.
Now you know why I didn't.
No, you're fine. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we do. I was actually about 15 odd years in Burnley. It felt like 40, but it was only 15. I did work for Blackburn for a while, so allow me my little bit of grace with
I'll
that.
let you laugh.
Yeah, in the sales team for the what was it? When they sell the rooms during the week for conferences and banquets and what have you. I was there just as Graham Souness was appointed.
Ah, perfect. Good time for the club then.
Yeah, and I left shortly afterwards. Well, I was asked to leave, shall we say. Let's put it at that. Anyway, it is FA Cup. Welcome along, sir. Do tell people we have put your link to your website and your Facebook in the description below on YouTube. But just tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find Rovers Chat everywhere. You find us YouTube. Just search for Rovers Chat. Twitter Rovers Chat _. TikTok, if you use that, at Rovers Chat _ anything really, any social platform you find us on. We've got something going on, just full Blackburn content. We'll have the full game covered as well tomorrow.
Right, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Like I say, Brad, I would imagine that Dan is a lot more looking forward to this than we are.
I don't know. It'd be interesting because, for Rovers fans, it's a nice tie. It's been a very, very long time since they tasted any form of Premier League opposition. Recent and former cup winners, so it'd be a thing for them. But I don't know. I think Dan was probably. I say obviously he would have been hoping to be up there fighting for at least the top two spots, if not with Burnley for the outright top of the Championship, and they'd probably like to approach this game with a lot more comfort in being able to rest some players for the key playoff push instead. I think this could be an interesting game because they'll want to win it and cause the upset and keep going in the competition. But with how their season's gone, I think they might be a little bit nervous of Leicester getting an early goal and maybe, having an easier tie than everybody's expecting. But it should be a fun game nonetheless.
I love your optimism at the moment, Brad. Leicester getting an
I've got to, mate. I've got to dig down deep and try and find positives.
I mean, let's be honest with you. 87th minute is an early goal for some games. I mean,
it is.
Dan, I mean, you looked at it. You got a Premier League away tie, but a few seasons ago, we were top 5, top 4, winning the FA Cup. Not long won the Premier League, like yourself, won it once. But obviously, at the moment, we're not doing so well. 3 points off the relegation zone, possible relegation fight on our hands. You must look at this and think, you know what? This is winnable for us. Will it be a shock if you beat us?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we beat West Ham in the Carabao Cup earlier this season on penalties.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the thing in our mind. We've done one Premier League side, albeit on penalties. We had Notts Forest at home. We got beat 4-1 off them in the last 16, but it was never a 4-1 game. We went for the win. We went to get an equaliser at 2-1 and just got hit on the counter. So there's a lot of optimism added in with us only losing one this year. There's almost, I won't say an expectation that will cause an upset, but there's been a growing chat between the fan base that, if we go and get that first goal, we could do it because we defend well. We're not the Blackburn Rovers of a few years ago where we'd go one up and lose 3-1. Not normally anyway. I've jinxed myself now, I've said that. But we're more that side that, we might go and concede. And if you've got the quality players out, maybe it'll show. But I think we'll put a good account of ourselves. The manager's not about giving up on ties. A previous manager were more bothered about the league. John Dole Thomason's he's been insistent on the cup. He spoke about it all week saying, look, this is a massive tournament. This is big for the fans. 2,500, 3,000 in that away. And they want a result, even if we are playing a side that, without doubt have better players than we do. They'll put that extra yard in. We're missing our 2 key players, which, I'm sure we'll come on to discuss, but we're still up for it. And I think there's an expectation in the camp that, there could be an upset here.
2 questions to you, Brad. First one, will it be a surprise if they beat us? Because at the moment, I'm looking at this and I wouldn't even class this as a giant killing.
It's weird. It'll come with a tag that obviously a championship side up against a premiership side. That's the tag that comes with any game of this caliber, no matter what competition it's in, whether it's the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. It's kind of like the under-21s beating a semi-first string in the Papa John's trophy, though, isn't it? You can see the odd upset, but more times than not, it's not really an upset at that point because Blackburn are a side that's on the up. It's usually, and I say usually because sometimes it's not always the case, but it's usually a team that's on the up that's looking good for promotion, looking good to maybe have that potential return to becoming a Premier League club anyway. So it's like that transition period. We saw it with Nottingham Forest, unfortunate. And I'll say it, Chris, I'll get the elephant out of the room. What happened with them? They beat us, they thrashed us in that momentum. So Blackburn will look at this as a real chance, and there's no reason they wouldn't feel they can. I think it'll just get very interesting when it gets to, because is it an 8 o'clock kickoff? Whenever it is. So an hour before.
Yeah.
7:45, so an hour before kickoff. You know, when a team news gets announced, I think that's when both sets of fans will have a rough idea where their intentions lie with this competition at this stage of it. Because we know, and I don't know if you've heard the press conference, but very unlikely that Tielemans is available and may be out for a while.
Yeah, that was going to
be see.
Yeah.
But we as fans know that anyway, if there's only big names missing for whatever reason, like that one. So we'll see when the team news comes out. That'll be interesting, but I don't think it's a shock. I just think it's like standard.
Talking of missing players, seeing as you brought it up, but it was my next question anyway, and I'll ask you first.
No, not well.
On to Dan. We know James Justin is out. We know Ryan Bertrand is out. We wish he was permanently out, but I don't think we'll see him again. I don't know why we get updates on him, to be honest with you. Johnny Evans is out, but of course, Maddison and Tielemans are both out. What is it with Leicester, Brad, at the moment? And maybe we don't look as bad as Blackburn, and we'll ask Dennis in a second, but we just seem to sort of get injury after injury after injury.
The thing is, though, it's
such a big loss.
Well, no, not really. Not the way his performances have been over the last few months, and that's not just for Leicester either. He's not been performing well for Belgium. He was dreadful in the World Cup. He actually got dragged off the pitch more times than he was on it.
Yeah.
So it might be a blessing in disguise. The thing is, there's two things we have to remember as Leicester fans. A, we're not the only club. This is not a Leicester issue. This seems to be a Premier League standard of training structure that you need to have. It almost seems like it's a requirement that every Premier League team has to live up to. And every Premier League team seems to have a minimum of like 4 injuries. Yeah. The other thing we have to remember is this Maddison injury. This is 4 years now in the making, Chris. This clearly isn't a training ground issue. This isn't because we've got too soft a grass or too hard a pitch. This is James Maddison's knees reoccurring injury, and he just doesn't hold up. And he needs to either have a run where it breaks and he finally finds a cure for it, or he's going to be a player that will always be restricted by this knee injury. So it's frustrating when you lose 2 key players like that, but Leicester do have that depth to still produce what they're capable of in the midfield.
I didn't know we got such a star in the building with us tonight, though, Brad. I mean, I live in a flat, but I don't live in a bungalow, but we've got Dan and Dom in. For those of you that... Was it Dan and Dom in the bungalow? I'm not sure.
It was Dick and Dom, but you're close enough with you being here. You can take that part.
I'll take the Dick on. Okay, that sounds wrong. But anyway, good evening, Dan. Welcome along. And Mr. Boyce as well. Welcome along, obviously, to Blackburn fans. Otherwise, Dan's got a couple of stalkers. And Leon is in for ourselves. Vardy hat trick. Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, Dan, we bemoan our injuries. You mentioned it earlier. Sorba Thomas is cup tied, but you have got quite a long list of injuries.
Yeah, just a few. Obviously, Ben Brereton Diaz, I'm sure. I'm almost sick of talking about him, and I'll almost be glad when he moves on because we've talked about him that much. But obviously, everyone knows with the Chilean link, he's out. He's suspended actually for getting 2 yellows in The initial game against Birmingham and then the Birmingham replay, which was something I don't think we all picked up on. Bradley Dyke, Rovers star man, really a guy who was talked in the same breath as Jack Grealish before his first injury. He's out again with a hamstring injury this time, luckily not a recurrence of the knee injuries he suffered. Daniel Ayala, an experienced centre-back's out. We're missing, arguably, and a goalkeeper, so we're missing 4 guaranteed starters for this team, really, when they're fit. And although that might affect sides, we have made changes in the cup and we have gone slightly weaker in these games. West Ham away, we put out a second-string side. And although West Ham put a second-string side out, it's still full of talent, Lanzini, Antonio, and we still did the job on them. So I don't think it worries us too much. The Dak one probably worries us more than anything, but we're used to injuries. Rovers have had injuries, like we mentioned before. It seems to be a Premier League worry, and it is with us as well, and it is with the Championship. Everyone's got a key player out. Everyone's got someone suspended. Everyone's got an injury, and it's just something you got to deal with. It happens, doesn't it? Yeah. So, plenty of injuries, but there's no reason why the other players can't step up. They did on Saturday at QPR, and they have for the last month. So, we'll hope that we can step up again and cause another upset.
Yeah, well, you said something quite interesting there about putting weakened side out, and I'll ask the same question to Brad after giving you a chance to answer. What is more important to you? I mean, I'm just looking at the table now. You had a great start to the season. You kind of fell off a little bit, but you're still there in the playoffs. And although you didn't remember it, I did say, you weren't confident about the playoffs. But as I mentioned to him, Brad, and you'll remember this, all they need is a player that will fall over in the penalty box. Speedy. But you... You say, I don't hold grudges, me. Oh no, I don't hold grudges.
No, it's almost like when 2 ex-Leicesters combined together to give Blackburn a win in that quarter-final we had last time against, didn't we? Do you remember that one when Dickoff scored a penalty against us and the winner?
Oh no, I don't.
Do you remember that?
No. You got better memory.
Oh God, that was a dive as well. I thought it was all about that first, and then you reminded me about David Speedy. Thanks for that.
Hey, anytime, mate. Anytime.
Cheers for that reminder.
You say you sat in 4th. I hate to say this, but a certain team at the top look like they're running away with it. I'm not going to mention the names, don't worry. But you are 9 points off Sheffield United. So that is not out the realms of possibility. But you are also, you're only 3 points off falling outside of the playoffs. What is your manager's priority here?
Oh, it's the league 100%. We've got Sheffield United on Saturday, actually, which adds another bit of thingy. Sky game at 12:30, so that's going to be in our minds. But our manager's very intense on fitness. If you don't play for the first team, you play for the 21 straight away. So he knows that every player is up to the standard of playing twice a week. That's the thing that is implemented here, and it probably took him a bit of time. The fact that he's been trying to implement that you can play twice a week, you can get all these extra minutes in. So that's been such a big thing to him that, like I say, you play for the 21s. If you're not playing for the first team, you're guaranteeing 90 minutes for the 21s. So it's a massive thing for him. So although the league's going to be the main thing, like it has to be, because we're not a club that's going to go and win the FA Cup realistically, but he will have his mind on this FA Cup and winning. He won't want to lose this. He's a very tough manager on his players. He's, we're winning games. He wants to win every game. He doesn't see cup games as something you throw away. He sees cup games as something that you can compete in and get as far and make. He likes to talk about making memories and doing something for the fans. That's his big thing, making sure the fans have their day out. We talk about West Ham regularly from that win, and I'm sure a Leicester win as well, and make us talk about that. So league definitely, but there's always that eye on the cup. He won't admit that he's up for the league. He'll want to come to Leicester and he'll want to put a performance in and blow Leicester away without a doubt.
But I've obviously want to win every game that you are in and every competition that you're in. But do you think, I didn't realise you got Sheffield United, at the weekend. That's a big one, because obviously, it's not just 3 points. You're taking 3 points off them. It's the proverbial 6-pointer. With that in mind, do you think that he will put a slightly weakened side out?
I don't, just based on the fact we don't have many players to put out. If we put a 20-man squad out for this game, there's probably going to be an under-18s player on the bench or an under-21s player. With that to the bare bones, I think he'll make a few changes. I think we'll see. Obviously, with Sober Thomas out, we'll have a new winger on. We'll probably change one of the centre midfielders just because they've been playing every game. We've got Tyler Morton on loan from Liverpool, who I imagine will come in. He's still got the talent to do it. He's probably been the most regular starter in the midfield, actually. He's just fell out of favour recently. And then we'll probably change one of the fullbacks just because we can. We're not going to go and make 8 or 9 changes purely because if we change that, you're probably starting a lad who's never played before. And although he likes to give the young lads a go and give him a test, I don't think this is the environment to do it. I don't think going to Leicester and, if we went and got beat 3-4-0 with a lot of young lads in the side, it's not the way to do it. So you'll see 3 or 4 changes, but the team, I don't think the team will look much different to a Championship side that we'll put out on Saturday, really.
No, I've got to say, if anybody can upset 2 sets of fan bases in one go, it's Anthony, who came in and mentioned a friend of both of ours who supports the other team that's down the road from you, as well as obviously being an Arsenal fan and coming into a Leicester chat straight after they beat us 1-0. Glad to see at least you're up and walking, Anthony, unlike most of your players who spent most of the match on their arses. Brad, I ask you again. I'm not harbouring any grudges at all. But Brad, I'll ask you the same question, and I guess I know what the answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Relegation battle, 3 points off the bottom. We're not safe by any stretch of the imagination, and I don't believe in this we're too good to go down shit or anything like that. We're not. Teams below us are winning. West Ham won at the weekend, but again, we've got a recent history apart from last season, which we won't mention. We've won it. We got to the quarters the season before that. But again, I guess if I say which one is our priority, I know what you're going to say.
I mean, everybody's priority is going to be league safety over a cup. It'd be nonsense to it. I mean, I don't think. Yeah, look, great. I know Wigan and we'll always remember it, but look where you were for your price. Look what it cost you. Look where it set them back to. I think in the long run, it does no club any favours. I mean, ask Middlesbrough. They put all their eggs into two cup baskets and failed in both of them. Not that one of them was against us, but it definitely was. And they went down regardless. And it's simple logic when you look at it that way. Never ever will I ever say that Leicester are ever too good to go down, but I would be remiss to thinking that I think there'll be a formation change, and I think maybe a few change in personnel, but I think Leicester will be just as keen to re-pick up that momentum because that's just as vital for Leicester. You beat Blackburn in the midweek, and then we have who's we've got next in the league? Chelsea at home, so that's 3 points. It's great. Potter's given them out like Christmas presents to everybody. So Chelsea are Santa Claus right now. So that's just what we need before Chelsea at home. So Leicester probably want this just as much, if not as more than Blackburn. So
we will
be interesting.
Team later, as we always do in these shows. But again, do you expect Brendan to go strong?
I think he'll go strong. Again, because of the injuries that we know about, I think there actually will be a shape change. But I don't see any drastic changes. I don't think we'll be like in the other rounds. I don't think we'll see any of the under 21s making a start. I think it will be first team players that we see. Yeah. But I do think there will be a few changes.
Because once you get through this round, it's like the quarterfinals, and it's got that final word in it, and it's getting exciting. Now, I'm going to ask you this first, Dan, because it's a question Mr. Boyce has come in. It's a very good question. And it was, again, one that I was going to put to you, and we did mention it before. He's asking about Leicester's season, and we'll put that to Brad in a second. But go through your season, because I say you started off really well, didn't you?
Yeah, incredibly. 3 wins in a row to start us off under a new manager, which I think you sometimes expect, don't you? And then 3 losses in a row, and you start looking at the other end of the table, and then we won, and then we lost, and then we won, then we lost, and we kept going on this win-loss run for about, we must have got to 15 games, and then we started doing 3 wins in a row and then 3 losses, got to almost halfway in the season without a draw, and then we drew 5 in a row, and then now we're winning games. It's been the strangest season ever. We're still hard to work out. I don't know whether we're any good of a side or whether we've just picked up the points scrappily like some sides do in this league and end up making a good year out of it. It's been a really strange season, one that I don't think we've ever experienced really as fans, because we're usually very good up to February, and then the fall starts at the start of February, and we end up going from 6th until 15th by the end. But we've kind of got through February unbeaten, which is untested scenario for us. We've not done that since we come down really in 2012. So
I was just looking there. I mean, your last games, Wigan 0-0. You've got 1-1 with Watford, 1-1 with West Bromwich. Could go to a replay this, Brad. But you beat Swansea 1-0. You beat Blackpool 1-0, and you had a great win at the weekend over Rangers with their new manager.
Yeah, it's been weird. Like I say, you watch us some weeks and you think we're a good side, and then you watch us, especially in the early losses, we were terrible. And I mean, that's not an over exaggeration from being upset about losing. We was really bad, but we've developed this side to us recently, whether it's the just don't lose side, we've got better at that, or whether we've just got better at playing with the ball. We tried the passing out, the fancy football from the back, and it didn't work at the start with all the, we don't have them players to play it out. We're not Man City. We don't have John Stones playing out from the back. So we were suffering from that, but we've developed it. It's getting better. We're going to stick with it. It could cost us tomorrow night. We could play it out from the back and Vardy could nip in and put one in off it. And if it does happen, it happens. We're just going to try and work out the benefits from it. I think it's been a matter of, we've had the effects of implementing a new play style. I'm sure Leicester have been through it in the past, where you're trying to put this new playing way in, and it doesn't always pay off at the start, but if you stick with it, you build into it, you get him runs. So it's been a tough season to judge as a fan. I've still no idea now whether we're a good side, whether we're going to get the playoffs, but at the moment it's working, and we're going to try the same at Leicester, I imagine. I don't think we'll change. I think we'll play our way. If Leicester work us out and beat us, then fair enough, but we'll, I think we'll stick with our way and just try and be stubborn about it.
Brad, do you want to explain about our season in a nutshell? I thought you froze. I thought you nutshell.
I think. No, I was just trying to think how I could do it as short as possible. It's been a culture shock to the system for Leicester fans. I think anyone that knows, even a neutral that knows the club well enough from myself and Chris coming on here, and the people in the comments know that Leicester have been in that transition period where we've got very good owners. They've very much showing and supported their own financial backing, and just at a period where maybe they chanced their arm a little bit with the Champions League earnings and the spending spree. Not spending spree so much, but chanced their arm with higher wage offers and whatnot. And maybe they thought that the season where Leicester didn't make Europe, which I'm probably counting on Leicester finishing in some form of Europe last season, would help them balance the books a little better, so they wouldn't get looked at by UEFA and the Premier League wouldn't look at them for financial fair play. I think we just didn't expect what to happen. We didn't suddenly expect to be in a position. Brendan certainly didn't expect to be in a position where he couldn't add depth, because what we've been achieving over the last 4 or 5 seasons has come at a core of 15 players, you would say. you would say hand on heart, you could probably name at least 15 players. Hang on, that have had a lot of involvement over these last 5 years that you would consider very embedded into the Leicester way. And with the whole Tielemans situation with his contract, we couldn't bring anyone in because we couldn't afford to on a wage or structure, not on a financial structure. Let's get that cleared up. It was on a wage structure basis. The whole Fofana situation, the whole passing of the torch for Schmeichel, it was a big change for everybody involved with the club to take. And unfortunately, sometimes you get away with it. Sometimes your whole squad just clicks and it all works out well for you, and you're okay. You know, you get on a run and all of a sudden you move from 12th to 8th. Leicester got off to a horrid start. If you ask the Leicester owners to write how the worst possible start could go, it'd be by October would be bottom of the league. And that's where we were. And we're now just finding our feet a little bit. And we're getting a little bit frustrated and flustered because we've had these chunk of games just when we started to turn a corner. And we've come out pretty well. 6 points out of the 4 games in question have done well. So it's been a bit of a shock, a cultural shock, and maybe we have to just accept it and draw a line under it for this year. And as long as obviously next year's Premier League, I think we'll come back to where we need to be.
Yeah,
that's the shortest nutshell you're going to get.
Unfortunately, you did ask Mr. Boyce, and there wasn't an easy answer to that one. I've said it so many times on shows that I just wanted to give me. I should have had a recorded message for that, shouldn't I?
You should have just. If you're asking about a season, press 1. That's what you should do.
We've not played each other in the league since 2014, so looking at sort of past meetings is a bit of a waste of time. But it's got quite a little bit of a memory for us, Brad, because we played a pre-season friendly against Blackburn on September 2020. Was that not our first game together?
I think so. I know it was either them or Birmingham. I know it was one of the two things. I think it actually was. I think our first friendly game was against Blackburn because it was a 1-1 draw.
It was. It was indeed. Yes. You have a head for stats. David, I don't know what you've been up to today. Hello, guys. I've had some day, a few drinks, and suddenly I'm 40 minutes away from my house. I had to call the bloody police. I'm knackered. I hope you weren't in the car when you had to call the police, but you're leaving out there what exactly you had to call the police for. Now, were you in the car? Was it drunk driving? Did you run into a lamppost? Were you walking and you did a bit of a flash to somebody that was walking past? You better explain that one, David, because knowing you, I'm really dreading thinking. But if I say anything on the news tonight, I'm going to put your name.
Yeah, we have the suspect in and the statement to prove it.
Hello, is that Crime Stoppers? You might want to check out. Terry says Blackburn and Leicester have one thing in common. We both won the most difficult thing to win, a league win. Indeed we did. This game could be any scoreline. I would like Vardy and Daka starting Maddison to rest. I don't think Maddison will play anyway because of his injuries. Don't worry, David. Rodgers will play an oddball team, well known for it now. That is the scary bit, actually. Cheers for that for you, Brad.
He understood it. That's a bonus.
Yes, well, whether he does or not. Subtitles are available, by the way. We're one game off. Thankfully, we beat Villa and Spurs. I know if we hadn't won those two, God help us. David's off his head. He does sound it. He does totally sound it. I don't know what you're drinking, mate, but I'll have a couple of pints of it. Needs to learn the recovery position and listen to Coldplay. Oh, come on. He'll be asleep in 5 minutes. Who are you most worried about in the Leicester side, Dan? I mean, Vardy is not a regular starter now. We've seen that the last few games. It's been Iheanacho up front. But, this is an FA Cup. I can see Iheanacho not being played. Who would you be more worried about facing, Vardy or Daka?
I think Vardy. I think there's still that, you never lose that attacking, that finishing as a striker, do you? I know, obviously, maybe his legs aren't what they used to be, but I think Vardy just offers something that our defence might struggle with a little bit. You know, we don't have the paciest of defences. I'm not saying we're slow by any means, but I just think if you can get in behind, you know, that's going to be your way of playing. So Vardy definitely, but like you mentioned, Iheanacho always seems to score in the FA Cup. Whenever I seem to watch Leicester in the FA Cup, he's scoring. I watched the one against Gillingham actually earlier this year, and you know, I think Vardy's one of them players. Rovers will switch off at one point. That's what we did at QPR. We were good for 89 minutes, and then we switched off for a minute and we conceded. And if you've got that striker that can put the ball in the net, you know, you've got better strikers than Championship clubs do. That could be our downfall. We could just switch off twice and lose 2-1. We could be good for 88 minutes, switch off twice, and lose this game. So, you know, having a striker like Vardy's a bit of a worry for us.
Yeah. I mean, Terry's just said here, Brad, and we will come on to our full team later. We'll let, obviously, Dan go for that. But, Iheanacho is the cup top scorer for us. I can just see him being left out, though, because I think he's got... I don't know. What do you think? I mean, and I'm not asking for what you would do. I'm asking what you think Brendan would do here.
I think he would. I think if he's going to go one up front, I think he would use the opportunity to give Daka a bit of a start, because he is ultimately the clone in terms of what he offers, and what he offers is pace, and he can run and stretch that back line, which is exactly what Vardy does, but he does it with a world of talent. But that's the natural replacement for his role in the team. But I think if he goes with a 2, which he could do, I think he will play Iheanacho because he's got some insane record. But, I mean, he has left him out before to try and use him as like a bench player and bring him off the bench for that. And that does worry me, because I think he's got like some ridiculous record of like 15 goals in 19 FA Cup appearances, and only one of them was for Man City, I think. So it's just ridiculous how he's done it for Leicester. I think Rodgers would start him if he changes his shape. If he doesn't, I can see Daka starting as the solo striker to kind of run at them.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm a little bit worried for Nacho, man.
I could as well, and I like you say, the question you've got is: do you start Iheanacho just because of his record, or he's now, I think, taken on the mantle of our number one striker? David. Yeah, I was drinking when I was at the pub and finished, went driving, and I realised I was lost. The police signalled me and I was told I was half awake and driving into dead ends. David, what can I say?
Please drink responsibly, people.
Yeah, I'm not angry. I'm not going to go mad. I'm just very, very, very disappointed in you.
I hope somebody comes into his room at 6 o'clock in the morning and he knows and wakes him up with tambourines. That'll teach you, David. I'm not a mean person. I'm not.
No, I was thinking that, but like you said after the day, Chris, Vardy and Daka, how many goals this season? That's the worry, isn't it? That's the worry. I'm a lucky man because the wife and I think you need to go to bed, David. And
I think you just put the phone down, Dave.
Yes, I don't know if this is true, but Mr. Boy says he's the police officer. Is he, Dan?
I think he is. I'm kept voicing on you. He'll be down soon.
I've never met this David Burton before in my life. I have no idea who he is. He's just somebody that comes into a chat once in a blue moon. Do you know him, Brad? I couldn't say who he was.
No, I couldn't tell you who he is, Your Honour. I'm passing for the court in case it gets used as a witness statement.
Yeah, allegedly. We've never.
Yeah, allegedly.
But apparently he was stopped by the police, so there we go. The police were there. Dan, I mean, you're running the FA Cup this season. Let's have a look at it. Norwich City. Have you only played 2 games in the FA Cup this season?
Yeah, we're coming to
Championship coming in round 3.
Ah, right. Blackburn Rovers, you beat Norwich 1-0 in the 3rd round. You made a bit of hard work against Birmingham City.
Just a bit.
Yeah, 2-2 in the first game, although you did win on bookings. You let them back into it with a very, very late goal, which is similar to the sort of thing we do. And then extra time. Was it an own goal that sent you through?
Yeah, it was the worst game I've ever seen. It was a dreadful, dreadful game.
God's sake, Chris! You just said they went through on own goals. Right, that's it. Take our defence out. Don't play in centre backs. We can't risk it with our centre backs at the moment.
bad game.
We're on a run goal drama, mate. You're in there. Just put the cross in and hope one of our centre backs hasn't scored an own goal this season. It's due one.
That's what it turned into. It was we played it 3 days later after the game. It was really strange. They'd announced the replay days before the actual game, so we played Birmingham at home on the 28th and then played them away on the 31st.
Oh, that's horrible.
So, but
That's
obviously
horrible.
fans were just rushing to get tickets. It was no atmosphere and 120 minutes and nothing, and we just put a ball in the box. It hits their defender's leg and goes in, and we were just happy to go through. It was weird. It was possibly the worst FA Cup tie I've ever seen. But
you don't care when you win, though, do you?
No, we don't care now. But because we knew we had Leicester in the 5th round, I think if they'd have said the winner plays Ipswich or something in the 5th round, I think we'd have both fought to lose the game, really. But when we saw a Premier League outfit coming up, I think it added a bit extra to us. We wanted to win it and, test ourselves.
Brad, I mean, looking at ours, like you say, Faye's 2 goals against Liverpool. He was, up until this weekend, their top scorer after post-World Cup. Suto an own goal on his debut. God help us if he puts Vestergaard in. God knows what he'll do. But we've had the 2 games as well. Not exactly been impressive, but we've had you've got to say we've had some easy ties. 2 away, but Gillingham and Walsall. But we won them both 1-0.
Nothing ever easy about a low league side in the early rounds of the cup, but away from home. And I think one of them was a 12:30 kickoff as well. Was it? Or I know one
Gillingham,
of them was on BBC. Yeah. So you know exactly what they reek of, don't you, Chris? They reek of highlights of Wycombe Wanderers and Newport County. So there's nothing.
You said the word.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
they're
God,
banned.
Goodbye. I've lost him now. Yeah, you know those words are banned.
I know. I'm sorry, but I have to make the point, and that was everybody. And of course, on paper they're easy, but they're only easy if you take them seriously. And Leicester, to be fair, did that. Yeah, it was 1-0 wins, but we were getting beat. 4-2, 5-2, 6-2. The only thing that was happening with Leicester in terms of going up was the number of goals they were conceding. So, in the aspect, it wasn't that easy the first game. And again, we've painful memories of losing to teams of that calibre. So, say what you like. I mean, people said it a little bit about our entire run to the final. You got beat what's in front of you and what you're drawing against. They've done exactly the same, if not more, to get to where you are in that competition. So. It's on paper, but it was never going to be easy because it's Leicester as well. I'd rather get a Premier League side in round 3 and get knocked out than be sat here going, "Oops, we just got beat by Gillingham or lower or something like that." Wouldn't you?
Of course, both games 1-0, both games Iheanacho goals.
Yeah. So guess who's not scoring, and guess what the score's not going to be.
No, I was just thinking, if only I had a jingle for him. You can't beat it. Any excuse.
It just makes me chuckle. I love it.
You can't not tap your feet. I'm sorry. Village people, my guilty pleasure. Terry says here, that could be taken as being so wrong. Terry says here, the golden rule, Home Rodgers doesn't praise you play because you'll get dropped next game. That is so true. Championship, though, Dan, and I've got to mention this. If any of you haven't yet seen it on the Leicester Till I Die channel, there is an interview I did with Keith Hackett. ex-Premier League referee, ex-refs assessor, and ex-chairman of the PGMOL. And he had a lot to say about VAR and a lot to say about the refereeing in the Premier League recently. Are you pleased you don't have it?
Yeah, massively. I think it, I know it sounds typical, but it feels like it just takes the enjoyment out of it for me. Watching the games and you're waiting minutes for it to go. And I think it's more the people using it though that's the issue rather than the actual system. Even if it is a bit picky and a bit over the top that they do sometimes with all the lines coming out. Is it in tomorrow?
Well, I was just going to ask Brad if you knew that, to be honest with you. I mean, this is a ridiculous...
Yeah.
I'm guessing it is because it's at a Premier League ground.
Yeah, so stupid. So stupid. And we've said this enough, haven't we, Chris? The easiest solution to stop people getting confused about whether they're going to have the technology or not is just, we know it's installed at the Premier League grounds. Surely you can loan it for an afternoon. It can't be. I mean, I don't know how difficult it is to set up. I don't know, but maybe someone's going to tell me it takes weeks in advance to get in. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason they can't. But it just seems an unfair advantage because almost with Leicester, if you're a Championship side or away from home, you're probably thinking, I can get away with stuff here that I can't.
Well,
and that you might chance your arm. This
is interesting, right? Because I just totally disagree. And I've got the answer for you there. It was before my very eyes. This, I think, is totally wrong and totally unfair. Southampton host Grimsby Town. They've got VAR. And bless them, they got Craig Pawson. Leicester Blackburn Rovers, Premier League ground. We've got VAR. Peter Banks. Stoke City hosting Brighton, no VAR. Sheffield United hosting Tottenham Hotspur, no VAR. Fulham versus Leeds United, obviously VAR. There's two cities there. Bristol City versus Manchester City. Goodbye, Anthony. No VAR. Manchester United versus West Ham, VAR. Burnley versus Fleet. Sorry, I said that word. Sorry. Some little team just outside Blackburn versus Fleetwood Town. No VAR. I mean, Brad, if there's a contentious decision, and let's not take that last game, but let's say Bristol City are given an offside when it's obviously, if it had gone to VAR, it wasn't. And yet in our game, we've got VAR and we lose a goal because of it. That's totally unfair, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And again, there will be some players out there that obviously relish it because they don't like the system that's in place at the moment, or especially how it's being used. But they'll chance their arm. Like I said, it works for and against you. You could have a perfectly legitimate goal get flagged up for offside, but you're away at Stoke, so unlucky. And then Stoke go down the other end and score in the 90th minute. You get knocked out, and realistically, you should at worst be getting a replay. And then, like you said, whereas, takes 0-0, 93rd minute, Leicester score a goal that gets ruled out. Blackburn think, oh, thank God we've got a replay. We'll beat them at Ewood Park, or forgive me if the name's changed. It's just what I remember it as. And then all of a sudden they're waiting 6 minutes and Leicester get a goal because it gets ruled onside. And it just takes... Not only does it continue to take the sting out of the tie from the fans' perspective, but other teams aren't going to get a replay suddenly gifted to them because they realise there was a massive cock-up. It's what we've always said, Chris. You either loan it out to these clubs for these competitions, or you say it's not in the competition because we can't loan this equipment because we'd have to build it into it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert on how this technology is done, but that's the way you do it. It's either there for everything or it's not at all. It's the fairest way to do it then.
It is, totally. I mean, Dan, if this was at home, if this was at Ewood Park, which is the correct name still, Brad, but at Ewood Park, we wouldn't have it.
No, it's not fair, is it? That, like you say, got goal ruled out. We had it, I think we played Newcastle in a game and we got robbed from it because we didn't have VAR at Ewood Park, but if it had happened at their ground in the first leg, we'd have got away. It's not fair at all, is it? Like you mentioned, it's just typical of football, isn't it? The one thing they can balance out, and there's still teams that will benefit from it. I hope it doesn't ruin tomorrow. I hope, whoever wins, and it's won in a fair way rather than it going to lines.
Unfortunately, I think you're going to be disappointed. I know Dan of the small team just outside Blackburn, he actually is not looking forward to coming back to have VAR back. So that kind of sums it up in fairness. Guess who our referee is, Brad? You would not believe. I can't believe
if it's that one, I'm not bothering.
No, I was winding you up there because I knew you would take you down that cul-de-sac. Tim Robinson, don't know him.
Well, good. Maybe he's decent at his job, because if it's a referee I've heard his name too many times, he's probably done a poor job and had a VAR conspiracy. So I've never heard of this ref before, with the greatest respect for him. So good luck. Hopefully he can do better than the referees we've been seeing at this standard.
Yeah,
I've just had a look at his career.
This is where we find out he's secretly a Rovers fan, don't we? This is what we're going to tell us, Dan.
We've been beat every time we've had him this year.
There you go. Well, congrats.
We've had a man sent off it last two. We were at Coventry and one of our players went in for a challenge right in front of the referee. Really good challenge. And he just gives a red card straight away. Obviously, with VAR, he should overturn it. So I might actually be grateful VAR's him. But I just had a look at him and he seems to lack a red card. So it'll be an interesting game, especially, like I say, with VAR, although it can benefit you.
Yes.
It could also when you slow it down, it looks a lot worse, doesn't it? That's
when they use it, of course. But then don't get me talking on that, because I'll go just over on
you've had a lot worse instances with it than we have, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It is. And the thing is, you can't even blame the Premier League for this one, because it's actually the FA that have decided this rule, and it is a stupid rule. It should
No, it's all right. We'll still blame them anyway, Chris. Don't worry. We'll find a way.
We'll find. Yes, we'll find. We'll just blame the PGMOL, because that's just like the governing body for everything. But yeah, it is. It's totally wrong and totally unfair. Dan, I'm going to come to you with this one first. Last question of the game, which of course we always end up with score predictions.
Do you know what? I think, does it go to a replay or is it extra time? I can't remember when.
I'm guessing it's a replay because the last legs were replays.
Yeah, I know it goes at some stage and I can't think when it is. If it does, well, I'm predicting a draw anyway, so I'll do both instances. I'll go for 1-1 and then I think we'll win it on penalties if it goes to penalties. If it doesn't go to penalties, then you'll probably come to our place and beat us. It won't shock me. I think we need to do it on the night to end up getting through.
Is your ground still in Darwin?
No.
No.
It's
very close. It's very
You mentioned them down the road enough without we're getting away with it. No, I think if we do it on the night, then I think we'll do it. We don't want a replay. I imagine you don't need a replay.
No, thank you.
Not at all. I imagine it's best for both sides. Let's hope it goes to penalties and let's hope we nick it.
Here we go then. Here we go.
Final stage,
I'll come back to you for you can redo your prediction then, because up to this stage of the it says here, FA Cup rules occasionally differ from the league and even from round to round. So here are the rules. Replays up to this stage of the competition, ties ending in a draw after 90 minutes would go to a replay. However, are we sitting comfortably? You will be tested at the end. However, from the fifth round onwards, there will be no replays.
Oh, get in. Thank God for that.
Not to be played tomorrow. We've got to be won tomorrow.
Oh, that's better for both of us, isn't it? None of us want that game. Yeah, I'll go for a penalty win then. We'll go for another Premier League upset.
Yeah, there will be 30 minutes of extra time, and if the sides still cannot be separated, there will be a penalty shootout. A VAR, just out of interest, will be used in ties taking place at Premier League stadiums, but not at matches played at the Championship grounds. It doesn't say why. It just those are the rules. So you've gone for a penalty win, Dan?
Yeah, we'll go for it. I've got to back Rovers, no matter how bad we can be.
No, exactly. And I would expect nothing less of you. Brad?
I think it's a game that will have an interest, and in a way, I hope it's one of them games that if Leicester can kind of grab by the scruff of the neck and come in at half time with a couple of goal advantage, that Blackburn will. And this isn't anything against Blackburn. I think any team in their situation at this point in the competition would go, okay, we're 2-0 down, we're away from home, we've got Sheffield United who we're trying to chase down at the week. I'll make some changes. Let's shut up shop. Let's not lose by any more goals. And Leicester will go through 2 or 3-0. So I'm going to go with that happening, with all the optimism in the world, as you can tell by my voice, and that happening. And I'm going to go 3-0 Leicester.
3-0. Whoa, wow. You've been going for those big scores all season.
Yeah, look where it has me in the prediction.
He hasn't got any of them right down, so don't panic. Can I just say, have we got a rat in the camp here, Dan? Because I noticed one of your players is called Bradley Dack. This is not you in disguise, is it, Brad?
Certainly not. I'm not that talented.
I had to look twice.
But if he starts scoring own goals.
Injured again. He is. Well, walks in tomorrow.
Well, he suits the Leicester way then, doesn't he?
Yeah. I had to recheck that surname. I'm going to be honest with you. Look, Dan, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I can't wish you all the best for tomorrow night for obvious reasons, but I do wish you all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
If we manage to stay up and you come up, I'll look forward to playing you. If you don't come up and we'll go down, we'll be playing you as well. So look forward to it. Then I still have a little bit of a sort of a check on Blackburn Rovers, see how they are doing. But once again, details in the description below. But just give a shout out as to where people can find you.
Yeah, Rovers Chat on YouTube, Rovers Chat _ on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, any of them social medias. Thanks for having us on as well. Really appreciate it, and good luck for the rest of the season. Just let us through tomorrow, and we'll have that. Quarter-final, hopefully.
I tell you what, if you could guarantee that we won't go down, we'll let you through. How about that?
Wait, Sam, if you guarantee we go up, we'll let you have it. I think it'll be a good game. I imagine
there's going to be a lot of tension. It's got to be done on the night, so it's all about team selections. Dan, mate, I hope you lose tomorrow, obviously, but good luck for the rest of the season, mate. And hope you come up.
Thanks for having us on. All the best for the season as well.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Bye-bye. Cheers. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot to Dan. Good luck to Rovers for the rest of the season. And East Lancashire double, Brad, coming up.
Maybe. I'm sure.
He's actually just left, so I can say Burnley.
Okay. Okay. Well, you can pick your side of the fence. I'm sure both versions of Dan will be asking for their team to go up and the other one to bugger off. But
yes,
we've got more chance of that happening for Dan but then for Burnley than you have for the Rovers. Dan,
at the moment, they are. Yeah. Unfortunately, smashing it, as they say. Are you okay to do a quick team selection?
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one to do, I think.
I'll see where your mind is taking us, and we'll do it straight after this.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Look at that, seamless. As almost as if I knew what I was doing. Never presumed that. Charlie, Blackburn fan, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day. I think we're going to beat you, 2-1. Look, mate, you're a Blackburn fan. I would not expect anything less of you at all. Fair play to you, mate. And if you do win it, you'll deserve it at the end of the day. It's a football match, and good luck. Like I say, I still do have a little bit of me, about that much of me that still sort of just checks on Blackburn's score every now and then. So, if you beat us, well done, mate. But you're most welcome in the chat. And good luck, as I say, for the rest of the season and coming up. Terry says here, the team selection will indicate what both team managers see as the priority. For me, it's Premiership survival. We said that earlier, didn't we, Brad? I think it's got to be, hasn't it? I'm just going to text. I'm just texting Brendan. So get on now, Brendan. Brad's about to pick his team, so you can get your notebook out. Right. David is off. You're going to go and lie on the bed, are you, a little bit, mate? Make sure you got the bin next to your bed in case you throw up. Don't do it again. Take care, buddy. Thanks for popping in. All the best. Okay, what formation do you think he will go for tomorrow?
I think I've got a funny feeling he's going to change it up with the injury problems that we have. Yeah. I think he's going to play a 4-3-1-2.
Oh, God, I don't think I've got that one. 4-3. Oh, I have. I think they've added it. 4-3-1-2. There we go. Right, now, I reckon in goal that we're not going to see Danny Ward.
No, I think we're still going to see Ward. I think this is a momentum builder. I think he won't want to, with the greatest respect to Iverson, I don't think he'll want to have a banana skin. I think he always wants to try and get through this competition. And I think the lads will want to put in a performance. And I think you've got to have your number one keeper in for that.
So I think it will be Ward, aren't you?
Yeah.
That'll teach me for typing Danny Everson out ready, won't it?
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, I'll get you. There we go. Danny Ward. I've always felt a bit sorry, and I felt a bit sorry for Danny Ward when he was in that position because, like you say, you know, they do the part, they go up, you know, in the early rounds and do the penalties or whatever, and then as soon as it gets to the main round, they sort of get dropped, don't they? Which is all a bit sad, really. But there we go.
Yeah.
Back four.
I think he's going to keep with. I think he's going to keep with Christensen on the left. I don't see Thomas coming in. The young lad's a machine. I think we've seen what he does with players that he feels that are unbreakable. He plays until they're broken, unfortunately. There is an outside chance he could go with Thomas, thinking of the weekend ahead, but I just think Christensen's got full of beans, and why you wouldn't play someone of that energy, I don't know. So yeah, for me it'd be Christensen.
He's 19 for God's sake, isn't he? You know, he can, if he can't manage 2 games in a week.
Well, exactly, young enough and should be fit and agile enough to manage 3 games in 7 days. It's not like he's doing it every week. So, yeah, I think that. And again, the strength goes into the centre-back pair, and I think it's Sutar and Faze. I don't see a need for him to want to change it. I think this is very much a case of if the situation fits, then we might see Soyuncu and Amati come on, but I think he starts with Sutar and Mount Faze.
I had a feeling that it might be Soyuncu. I'd forgotten Amati. I'm not gonna lie, but we are one game off a quarter final. When you look back at the records, like you're saying, you just see the final, whether it be quarter, semi, whatever, on there. It does look better. It is getting serious now, isn't it?
Yeah, you do enter serious mode, don't you? When you start thinking, you forget about. You don't really care if it's a Chelsea or a Man City at that point. You hear the word final and think, well, now we've got to beat them. You know, we're a hop, skip, and a jump away from a Wembley visit, so why not? So probably a good thing that Leicester are able to keep that mentality going.
He says, watch the injuries though. We can afford Thomas' injury.
Well, doesn't matter, does it? Because you can't afford a Christensen injury. But guess what? One of them's got to play, Terry.
What he meant, actually, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can, because Thomas isn't a bad left back. He's not become a wide wing back overnight. He's just a defensive wing back, and I think we need to realise that he's not a bad choice.
Yeah.
On the right, though,
without him is what I always say.
Yeah, of course we are, because that's not the style of wing back he is. But on the right, I'm going for Ricardo Pereira.
I thought you might be for some reason, and I got to say I totally agree with you.
Yeah, well, we both both. I said we both agreed, didn't we, that he'd probably get 5-10 minutes in the last two games, which he did. He got five. If you include stoppage time, he got 10 minutes against Man United, and he got that against Arsenal. Here we'll probably see him get 70, 60 minutes, 70 minutes. You know what Brendan's like, but I think he starts.
Yeah,
and Castagna could use the rest, to be honest with you.
I do. I think you're right. Totally, 100% agree with everything you just said. You might want to clip that.
Yeah, 1 minute and 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Yes, make a note of it. It won't happen again. The defense, well, what I would call the defensive central midfield role.
So this is a little bit tricky because I'm going off who I'm pretty sure isn't going to be available, and that's Maddison. And there's no Maddison and Tielemans available.
No.
But I think he's going to go with. Do you want me to, I'll go from left, middle to right.
No, do the middle first.
Do the middle first. Oh, the middle first. The middle first. I think Brendan's going to prove a lot of people wrong. And I know there was a comment that said it earlier, and I can totally understand it because we've seen it a common theme.
Yeah.
But I've got a funny feeling Brendan's going to prove that whoever starts in this position is going to dictate how Leicester go about it. And I think you're going to see Mendy in the middle.
Right.
I think Mendy returns to the squad because he'll want to get at Blackburn. He won't want to sit back and try and counter Blackburn. He'll want to match their intensity and go through them. And that's what Mendy gives him, that option over Ndidi and Samari. So yeah, I can see Mendy starting.
Okay. On left there.
On the left, I think because we're limited on options, ideally I'd like to rest him, but I would go with Dewsbury Hall.
I'm agreeing with you. We need to rest him, but it's a case of options, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we're unfortunate to be hit with a double whammy there because, with what we've got available to us.
Yeah. And now this is where it gets interesting. On the right.
Now you might be able to correct me here, but I'm assuming that Dennis Pratt is available.
Well, looking at the information that came up before, I think let's just have a look on what Rodgers was saying because I didn't see the conference.
Because I know he said that Tielemans doesn't look. He had a scan today, but they're fearing the worst. It didn't look good, so I've ruled him out in my selection altogether.
Yeah, no. Again, I agree because if he's only just ruled him out, this game's come too soon for him anyway.
Yeah,
Pratt looks like he's available.
Yeah, well, that makes it a bit easier then, because and this might surprise a few people. People might raise a few eyebrows because they're thinking that's why I'm going to put, maybe a lot of people would think I'd put Pratt in that attacking midfield position, but I'm actually going to give him the Youri Tielemans responsibility because that's potentially what I see from Pratt once Youri Tielemans leaves us at the end of the season as well, taking over that role. So I'd have Dennis Pratt in the middle there.
Mm.
And now people are probably thinking, well, Brad, no Tielemans, no Maddison.
I have to say, though, Pratt could be leaving in the summer as well.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, he could still leave in the summer, but if you're going to make your intentions known with Tielemans, knowing where he stands with the club right now, then maybe this is the idea that you implement in Pratt's head that he's got a chance to get that opportunity here still. But in the attacking role, now people might be thinking Barnes. But I think Barnes is slowly learning that role in the background, maybe because of another certain player that might leave us in the summer, but we'll actually be able to get some money for him in Maddison. Who knows? But I'm not going to go Harvey Barnes. I'm going into the Brendan playbook here. Do you remember when I think we did it against Man City with Lootman? I'm bringing Tete in from the right, and I'm putting him in that attacking midfield role because he likes to do that with his right wingers, doesn't he? He did it with a Lootman. He did it on occasion with Perez, and I think he'll want to if he's going to press down the middle, and this is how I'd go. Blackburn, you want Tete running at their back line and getting them backpedaling. If you've got that driving at them with two strikers in front of you, I think he is more than capable of doing that job.
I mean, I've got to say. It's a very good point. You know, I like Madison in the middle. I like Madison in the middle.
Malcolm in the middle.
I've got to stop drinking straight vodka, haven't I? I like Madison in the middle because he's given that freedom to play wherever he wants to go and get the ball. And of course, he draws the tackle. And I think that Tete could be that sort of a player. Yes, obviously his wing is, it's his main role. Terry's just said Tete can play there. That is one of his roles is in the centre. But I just think that he could cause the Blackburn defence so many problems and get us some really, really good free kicks.
Yeah, he could, and you change his dynamic because in that role, you're not going to see him having to do. And I'm not saying he shirks it. Actually, he does it quite well considering it's not his natural trait. On that right wing, he has to do his defensive duties even deeper back. Whereas obviously Madison gets that free roam to go across, so he's not just going to focus down the middle. Tete's got that brain about him as well that if he needs to, he'll drag a player out wide or he'll get in round the back of defenders who'll just. That lapse of concentration that they have, and then a ball gets played out wide to him, and he'll get us in on behind the defence. He can be a real menace in that role, which is why I changed it to this system to suit it. Because I think, I just don't.
I'm just looking there on transfer market, and as Terry said there, his main position is right winger, but then they always show other positions, and it is left winger. Which is good, and attacking midfielder. So he's one of those players like that Rodgers likes, that is
versatile.
Not multilingual, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean, yeah.
He can play various positions. So, yeah, I think that's a good call. I really, really do, mate. Vardy and Daka up front?
No. Sit on the bench, Mr. Vardy. Sit on the bench, please, sir. I want to see the potential partnership or the option 2 behind Nacho. I want Iheanacho on because he's our first choice striker in a system of 1 and he should be always on the team if he's fit to play. And I want Daka on that page. No point having him as a number 2 striker for Iheanacho next season if he's not going to play any more games of football this season. He needs to be playing. He needs confidence. Maybe he needs the FA Cup king in Iheanacho to provide him a tap-in or an easy goal to get his confidence back up. And maybe Leicester fans can look at this going, these two get going, have a good game together, and you think, well, next year that looks promising. We need to start doing that. That transition needs to become a thing, and Vardy needs to stay that impact 15 minutes up. So, yeah, Iheanacho and Daka for me is my strike force.
Yeah. Terry's agreeing with you a lot of the time here, so that's a little bit frightening as well. Charlie says, who do you think is Blackburn's best player? I don't know enough of your players. I don't know if you do, Brad.
I know the name is the guy who picked his nationality, so he changed his name or elongated his name, so it's like Diaz. Diaz.
Yeah.
He's definitely a name I've heard a lot talked about. Common threat in the side. Bradley Daka, who Dan mentioned earlier, is one that's kind of been getting the goals for Blackburn. I mean, they did obviously have at one point George Hurst at the club, but that didn't see out the season. So I mean, he wouldn't be able to have played against, as you'd imagine, but that was one that I kind of knew about. But outside of them two, I'll be honest, I'm with you. Yeah. So Diaz and Daka for me.
Yeah. Just looking at Tete, he made his debut. Oh no, he's not made his debut in the Brazil full side yet. Fair enough. Brad, we've got no post-match tomorrow because it will be probably at like 1:00 in the morning, especially if it goes to penalties. But if you want to pop on to the watch-along at the end, whenever that is, obviously, you would be most welcome.
Yeah, I might do, depending on what time it is. I might pop on at the end. If we've lost, I won't. If we're out, I don't expect to see my face. I'll be gone.
It'll be a long show, But again, as always, your details in the description below. But just give everybody a shout where they can find your channel, Top 10 Battles.
Yeah, find it on YouTube. It is, as it says there, it says it's Top 10 Battles. So just follow me on YouTube in the link. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @fulltimefocus. There's no abbreviation between full and time. It is all just one word, so it's @fulltimefocus. If you really want to, I don't know why you would, but if you really want to follow me on Facebook, you can do that, my personal one. And yeah, just do your usual stuff that you need to do here first, though. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And I hope you're enjoying the content over here because Chris does great work. So yeah, thanks for having us on, mate. Enjoying it.
Exciting artwork coming on your channel as well.
Yeah, it's by a famous Leicestershire artist. So you know him as Christophe Fourier. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's French or something. I don't know where I was going with him, but there he is. He's French. He's landed in France.
I've heard of him. Yes, who hasn't? Brad, thank you so much, mate, for coming on. Have a good rest of the night, and tomorrow enjoy the game, whichever way it goes. We're still in it, and Forest aren't, so that's going to be a bonus, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely something, mate, if nothing else.
It is. Thanks very much. All the best, mate.
Yeah, cheers for having us on and see you later, mate.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah, told you, you're late. Have you got a note? I'm going to have to watch this back. You are. You are. It was a good Dan in from Rovers chat. A good fan. A good fan. It was nice to have him on. But of course, I hear you saying, well, what's coming up, Chris? Well, let me tell you.
Coming up next on Leicester Till I Die TV.
7:15 tomorrow. We have got the watch along. Join us, be there or be square. It is 90 minutes of action, hopefully. 30 minutes if it's drawing at full time, and penalties. Yes, it has to be decided on the night. If it's all square at the end of 120 minutes, it goes to penalties. Coming up on Wednesday, we have got a one-to-one, an interview with Paul Ross, a big West Ham fan, TalkSport Radio DJ, and of course, brother of ITV chat show host Jonathan Ross. So we've got him on Wednesday. And also on Wednesday, brand new show, ITV2, Formula One. It's coming back this weekend. And we are launching, myself and Doug. He's the expert. I'm kind of the guy that asks the questions. But we are going to be looking at the Formula One upcoming season, all the teams, all the drivers, and judging the new livery as well. No, we've had a shit shirt show. We're going to have a shit car show. Should get the Allegro in there, shouldn't we? So that is at Wednesday at 6:00. So look out for that. I'm really excited about going to be doing that, something different. Thank you so much for watching Twitch and YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. And if you've been listening on your favourite podcast platform, whatever that one is, I thank you for that as well. I'm at work 6 p.m. You're going to miss. Oh, God. Well, have it on the radio. Have you got a laptop, a mobile phone? But just have it on your headphones in and listen to us. That's what you should do. Nate hopefully won't be watching from America, because if he doesn't watch and he goes out, we win. So like I say, thank you for watching Leicester Till I Die TV. Thank you for listening on your favourite podcast platform, Leicester Till I Die. All I'm going to say is thanks to everybody that was in the chat for joining in. Thanks to Dan from Rovers Chat. Here's Arnie.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.
Leicester till we die.
I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.